So here we go again with the unhinged women at the View doing what they do best, and that is always taking the wrong side of every single topic, which seems to be their mantra. If case in point, America spoke. America voted for Donald Trump because America got tired of the liberal ideology and all the damage that it has caused to our country. And of course, the women on the View are absolutely on the other side of every single topic. That includes making America great again. It seems like they want to always do the opposite. And the same thing happens here when Daniel Penny, as everybody knows by now, he has been set free. And apparently the girls on The View just seem to have a problem with the fact that this guy, he did a service. Like it or not, he did a service. And they're all upset because, I understand that, the death of Jordan Neely, it's a tragic thing. And it's something that never should have happened. But it was a line of events that led to this outcome. It's not like Penny just woke up that day and said, hey, I'm going to go out and kill somebody. And I'm sure Neely didn't wake up that day and say, you know what, I'm going to go be a complete moron, get doped up, jump on a train, start threatening people, and hope somebody kills me. I'm sure when they woke up that morning, they had no idea that their paths were going to intersect and the outcome that was going to, eventually happen. But wherever you stand on the topic, there's one thing you cannot deny, that Neely was in the wrong and Penny was in the right. He was trying to protect the people on the train who were afraid. Multiple people on the train come up and said, I was afraid for my life. And the lady with the baby, which was the one that apparently at one point Neely had kind of centered in on this one particular person with a baby. And the whole thing just kind of, unfortunately, went to the extremes and Neely died. Now, I'm in no way advocating that, Neely's death is a good thing. I'm not saying that at all. And like I said, I'm sure these guys, when they got up that morning, did not know the paths their lives were going to take that day. But it did happen. And like I said, no matter where you stand, you got to kind of understand Penny's position, because being that I am a human being, and if I was in a place where multiple people were feeling threatened, especially a defenseless woman with a child, and somebody was harassing them or whatever have you, I would restrain that person also. I would do the same exact thing. But here's the problem, and here's what's coming down. Well, before we get into that, let's go ahead and watch these girls on The View. Now, there again, Whoopi Goldberg and this Sonny Hostin, these two people, we would be better off if these people would leave the country. They are absolutely horrible individuals. They are terrible human beings. And here's the thing that pisses me off about people like Whoopi Goldberg and Sonny Hostin. They're going to be the first people that's going to jump on my back, condemn me for the fact that I do carry a firearm with me everywhere I go. And it's not because, you're afraid, you're this, you're that. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's because the world has become a crazy, insane place. And therefore, I carry a firearm. And I'm going to share a little story with you. This is why I carry a firearm. I was at a radiology meeting. This was probably, 20 years ago. And I was actually in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I live in Tennessee. And I did not know that I had stopped on a bad side of town because I just wasn't familiar with Chattanooga. I didn't go down there that often. And I went into a store to get something to drink. And I noticed right away when I walked into the store that there were these huge arrows on the floor directing the flow of the people in the store. And I thought, okay, this is kind of odd. And, you had one entrance and one out. That's it. You couldn't go out the in and you couldn't go in the out. They were blocked off that way. So I grabbed something to drink and I head up to the teller, the cashier, whatever you want to call her. And she's sitting behind glass like this thick. And there's the tray. They slide the tray out. You put the product in and your money and so on and so on. And I thought, okay, apparently this place has been jacked a million freaking times. So the store is sitting this way with the entrance here facing me, the entrance. And I'm parked over here on the side in my truck. And I come out of the store and there's 7, 8 guys sitting on my truck. All right, they're not in my truck 'cause my truck's locked. But there's a couple of them sitting on my hood, and the rest of them are sitting in the bed of my truck. And I'm like, oh, shit, here we go. I'm going to die right here today. And so these guys, they come around, and they get all out of my truck. and I'm walking towards my truck, and there's probably, 50, 60 feet between me and the truck. And this guy's like, he's like, yo, is this your truck? And I said, yes, that is my truck. And he said, come on over here, man. We need to talk. And I said, no. I said, we have nothing to talk about whatsoever. There's nothing I need to say to you. He goes, no, really, come over here. We need to talk. Luckily, I had my firearm. So I flipped my coat around to where my firearm was sticking out. And he stops his buddies. He's like, yo, why you got a gun? And I said, I'm going to tell you now, if you don't leave me alone and get off my truck, there's going to be a problem. I never pulled my weapon, but I did put my hand onto my gun. And at that point, those guys went, pow. And at that day, I said, I will never go anywhere again without my firearm. Because had I not had it that day, I would have been carjacked, robbed, and probably killed. Because it was me against 7 or 8 of them. And I don't care how badass you think you are, you're not taking down 7 guys unarmed by yourself. It's just not going to happen. I don't care if you think you're Bruce Lee, it's not going to happen. So that is why I carry a firearm. And besides the fact, years ago, I owned a business, and I got called down there several times in the middle of the night from my alarm going off. And sure enough, I went down there one night, and there was 2 guys climbing over the fence of my business to break in. And at that point, I did pull out my firearm. I had every right. They're on my property, breaking into my business. Now, there were no shots fired, of course, and I called the police, and everything was taken care of at that point. But it's a crazy world. But you have people like Whoopi Goldberg, and you have people like Sonny Hostin, who somehow defend the criminal every time and persecute the bad guy. This is absolutely mind-boggling to me what they do. So let's go ahead and watch this video real quick of these 2 clowns and what they have to say about the situation.
There's been polarizing reaction to this verdict as well. I don't know. I don't know that seeing them celebrating in a bar made me comfortable. You know? I mean, you killed a guy. The man is dead, and maybe you take the celebration home. You don't do it outside. But that's just me. Don't listen to anything I say.
Yeah, that's the thing. How do we describe and subscribe danger and who is dangerous, right? This man got onto the train, and he said...
Which one?
Penny.
The victim.
The victim. I'm sorry, Neely. A former Michael Jackson impersonator. He talked about being hungry and thirsty, and he said he didn't care if he lived or died. There is no evidence that he attacked anyone. There's no evidence that he put his hands on anyone on this occasion. No one on the train would have known that he had touched someone before. Multiple people testified that he didn't approach anyone in a threatening manner. And so when you look at that and you look at the result of what happened, my question is, where is our compassion?
But what they forget to tell you is multiple people did testify that he was coming at them in a threatening manner. And it's amazing that they left that part completely out. All the people who said they were fearing for their lives from this guy. Let's just leave that part out. All right. And this is the problem I have with these people. And, I just got this kind of problem with pretty much everybody in Hollywood and all these idiots that are on TV that have a voice. And, unfortunately, people listen to them and believe what they say. These women are clueless and completely unhinged. And at one point, it's I don't even know how to react to this a lot of times because it's so frustrating. Now it's their right because, we have a constitution. It is their right. It is their right to be idiots. It is their right to be completely wrong on this topic and most things that they talk about, which they are. And, Whoopi Goldberg, and this is the thing that gets me about her. Every time she makes one of her boneheaded statements, go back to The View and watch when this idiot talks. She says the same thing. Now, that's just my opinion. That's just me. She always follows up with that. It's like it's some kind of, going to give her cover, for whatever stupid thing comes, flying out of her mouth. But let's get to the facts of what really happened here. Penny, okay. Now, this guy, I wrote all this down to make sure that I was, that I didn't, say anything wrong. This guy, all right, has 42 prior arrests between 2013 and 2021, 42. And I don't care that he was a Michael Jackson impersonator. Does that somehow make him less guilty? Is that somehow, humanizing that he was a Michael Jackson impersonator? Okay. 4 of those were for assault. And he had some for transit fraud and criminal trespass. And a lot of these, of course, which, the liberal I can't remember the magazine I was reading. Most of these were, open container of liquor. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. He has 42. I don't care if 41 of them were for open container of liquor and 1 was for assault. How are they missing the point of what's going on here? And when he died, there was actually there was a warrant for his arrest for assault when he died, when he was killed. And let's forget the fact that he was hopped up on a drug called K2. Personally, I got to be honest, I don't know what the hell K2 is. I don't do drugs. I don't know what it is. But apparently he was hopped up on K2. But let's look at everything as a whole. This guy gets on the train. Okay, Penny is not even paying attention. Got his headphones in, minding his own business. Had no idea what was about to happen. Neely gets on the train, starts threatening people, yelling at people, screaming at people. I don't care if I live. I don't care if I die. And everything escalated. Now, this wasn't just Penny. Penny put him in a chokehold. Another person came by to hold his arms, and another guy was holding him by the shoulders, trying to detain this guy. And the entire time they had him detained, Neely was fighting against them. So what are they going to do? Let him go? Because I'm going to tell you now, if I've got you in a chokehold and you're fighting against me, I'm not letting you go. You're passing out. Because if I let you go, that's going to give you a chance to hurt me or my family, and that is not acceptable to me at any time. That is not acceptable. The best thing you can do is, if I got you in a chokehold, is to lay there, not be an idiot, because I'm not letting go until you stop moving under your own free will or you're passed out. I'm not letting you go because I'm not going to give you a chance to hurt me. But they didn't mention any of that on The View. All they talked about is, you killed somebody. Well, I killed somebody who was threatening harm to other people. I was protecting my fellow citizens. Whoopi Goldberg, why do you have a problem with that? And I'm going to tell you what this does. If I am in New York and I see somebody getting attacked, I'm going to have to think twice before I do something. Because I'm going to jump in there, hopefully save the guy's life, the girl's life, whatever it is. But as soon as that happens, I am going to be vilified and condemned by the corrupt DA Alvin Bragg. And I don't care what happens to Penny at this point. And, well, let me rephrase that because that didn't sound right at all. He's going to have to live with this stigma for the rest of his life. That's what I was trying to get out. It's kind of like if somebody accuses you of rape and then you're found innocent, that it never really happened. It doesn't matter. That follows you the rest of your life, that you were accused of rape. Now, they did not even arrest Penny when this happened. 10 days went by before they picked him up because the police, hey, it's justifiable. The guy was a threat to the people on the train. The threat has to be neutralized. That's how this works in this world. So the police are like, it's a bad situation for everybody, but we're not going to arrest him because it was justifiable what he did, because people on the train were coming up and saying, Penny saved our lives. Why didn't you mention that, Whoopi? Why didn't you mention that, Sonny racist Hostin? Why didn't you mention that? Oh, no. Because we're only going to play the side of the victim, because that's what we do. We're liberals. We only play the side of the victim. And we're going to condemn Penny, even though what he did is 100% justifiable and he was found innocent of his charges. But still, he's going to have to live with this for the rest of his life. This is going to be a stigma on him for the rest of his life. So after being indicted, going through court cases, and the hell this guy had to go through for doing the right thing, they find him innocent. Him and his attorneys go out to a bar and have some drinks to celebrate. Shit, I would do the same thing. I'm a free man. I thought I was going to prison for helping my American citizens. I thought I was going to go to prison and in New York probably get the damn death penalty because Alvin Bragg is so freaking corrupt. It is not funny. This guy will let innocent people go to jail and let criminals go all day long. This guy's got a history of doing these types of things. And Alvin Bragg, For the love of God, when Trump gets in office, somehow Alvin Bragg needs to be either terminated or put in prison. One of the two. This guy's so corrupt, it is not funny. But Whoopi comes out, I don't know, take the celebration home. Are you kidding me? Because now I'm fighting for my life because of people like you, Whoopi Goldberg. And I get found innocent? You want me to quietly celebrate at home when I thought I was going to get the needle stuck in my arm for doing what I thought was the right damn thing? And apparently it was, because they let me off. No, I'm going to go out and I'm going to paint the damn town red, man. I'm happy as hell. I just got my freedom back. I'm not going to have to sit in prison for 400 years on a freaking death sentence. But Whoopi Goldberg, as always, taking the part of the victim. Sonny Hostin, as always, taking the part of the victim. They never mentioned any of his past crimes. They never mentioned all the people he did threaten on the train. They didn't mention that it was not only Penny, but there was 2 other people involved in restraining this guy. They never mentioned that. They just mentioned the woe is me. Oh, the poor criminal. Oh, the poor criminal that got killed for doing stupid shit. They never mentioned any of that. And that's what makes these people hypocrites. And that is why The View, it needs to be pulled off the air. It needs to be put off the air. The View contributed to the reason why the Democrats lost resoundingly in the election because of their rhetoric and their constant lies. They try to paint the picture they want you to believe, and they're wrong most of the time. How many times, was it 3 times this year, Sonny Hostin has had to come out and stated apology for misstating the facts? Hell, and about to get their ass sued off? I think it's 3 times. She's had to do that this year, and yet people still watch The View. That is amazing to me that this happens. And I'm going to tell you, and I said earlier, I carry a weapon with me everywhere I go, because most of the places I go, I have my wife. My number one priority when I step out those doors is protecting my wife. That is my number one priority. That's it. I'm number 2. If it comes down to it, dude, we're going to put a bullet in your head or your wife's head. Which one do you want? Kill me. Don't kill my wife. Kill me. I'm cool with that. But my job is to protect my family, and my family is my wife. My daughter doesn't live with me, or same thing. But with my daughter, if she calls me across town, Dad, I'm in trouble. Boop, I'm there, and I'm going to be armed because I don't know what's on the other side. It is a dangerous world on the other side of the door. You better be prepared because you don't know what's going to happen. Just like Penny had no idea when he got up this morning that this was going to absolutely change the path of his life. He had no idea when he woke up this was going to happen. But it absolutely irritates me, like the mall I have here where I live. As soon as you get up, there's a big sticker on the sign, no firearms allowed inside of this mall, TSA. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life. Because if I'm a criminal and I want to hurt people, where am I going to go? To a gun-free zone, a place where I know there's no guns. That's exactly where I'm going to go. And I'm going to tell you what would happen if I carried my gun inside of this mall, all right? And then somebody came in there with a gun and started shooting people, okay? Now, let me paint the picture for you. Before this happened, every Democrat or liberal inside there that saw me carrying a gun would berate me for carrying that gun. Why have you got a gun? You don't need a gun. You don't need this. You don't need this. What are you doing? You just have to kill somebody. You have to hurt somebody, blah, 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 blah. And they would be busting my balls the entire time I was in there. But when shit went wrong, who do you think they're going to line up behind? Every single one of those liberals and Democrats that just vilified me and hated me for having this weapon, who do you think they're going to stand behind to protect them when shit goes wrong? The guy with the gun. Me. And this is Angry Guy Hates Everything right here. This is it right here. Me. I'm the guy. I'm the guy. They're all going to be standing behind me. Please, Mr. Armed, the conservative guy that we hate, please protect me and my family. That's exactly what's going to happen. Guaranteed 100%. That's what's going to happen. And what's going to happen? Now, luckily, I live in a red state to where chances are, even if I had the weapon inside of the mall, even though, I got to be honest, I don't know if it's breaking the law or if it's an ordinance. I honestly don't know. But if I had it in there and the bad guy came in with a gun and started harming other people and I took him out, chances are that would be the end of it. But if I lived in New York, if I lived in California, and I had that weapon inside of that mall, the bad guy came in, was hurting people, I took out the bad guy, I would go to prison. And it wouldn't be because I killed the bad guys, because I had a firearm inside of the mall with a sticker that said I'm not allowed to have a firearm. That's why I would go to prison. And if it's D.A. Bragg, I would do 50 years for that crime. And somehow he would tack on to me a homicide, charge on top of it. He would, because that's what he does. And even though I saved hundreds of lives, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You had a firearm where you shouldn't have had one. So now you're going to prison. Even though you saved hundreds of lives and did the right thing, we're putting you in prison. And that's how it works today. That is what's wrong with America today. And now, like I said, it makes me think. If I'm in New York and I see somebody getting attacked, what do I do? What do I do? Because if I help this person and the criminal gets hurt, I'm going to prison. And if I don't go to prison, I'm at least going to have to be drugged through a trial that's financially going to break my back. All because I decided to help somebody. Because this is the precedent that they have set in states like New York, in states like California, in states like Oregon, to where the criminal has the rights and you're the bad guy, even though you're only there to do the right thing.